Hello, my name is Stephen Fields, and I'm the Communications Coordinator with the Windsor Essex Catholic District School Board. And all this month, for Black History Month, we are doing a series of video interviews with people who have either graduated from our system or are currently working in our system who have gone on to be leaders in our community. And today we are joined by Jamie Adjetey-Nelson. So welcome, Jamie, and thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So I wonder if we can start just have a little bit of background about yourself, Jamie. You understand you graduated from our schools. Which ones did you go to?
I went to St. Joseph's High School, graduated 2003, along with my brother and sister. We were in the same graduating class. Um, After that, after the things I learned in high school, I decided to stay home and I went to the University of Windsor. Um, Graduated there from the General Arts and the Faculty of Education. But while I was there, I also competed in track and field. I did that for many years. Eventually got to compete on the pro level. And actually, all that started at St. Joe's with one of my high schools who, got me involved in Gary Malloy. So, from there, it took me along, finished my athletic career, and I decided to apply with the Windsor Police Service. And now here I am at the Community Service Branch.
Interesting that you bring up Gary Malloy. We lost him recently, or just within the last couple of years. What a wonderful, wonderful guy he was.
Yeah, he was definitely a mentor. Kind of one of the reasons why I decided to go in a direction of education, coaching, and I didn't teach, but I feel through policing I was able to motivate and educate at the same time in a different capacity.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned your athletic career. You were a decathlete, and I understand you just came very, very close to actually qualifying for the Olympics. What year was that?
It was 2012. It was actually my third attempt at the Canadian Olympic trials. I got very close, but like most things, you dedicate your time and everything there. But sometimes they go your way, and sometimes they don't. But I was able to bounce back, and never made the Olympics, but the experience I got from attempting such a great feat really helped me along with my career and just my life in general.
Mm-hmm. And I understand you've been a police constable for about 7 years now, and you've recently moved into a new role within the Windsor Police Service. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the first 6 years I was in patrol. Just the dynamics of being in patrol, being in the community. But now I've taken some of that experience, and now I've come to the community service branch where we're able to do some outreach and some education within the community. Also, provide services to different organizations and in an advisory capacity from a police standpoint, and also provide presentations on different occurrences that are happening within the city, whether it involves fraud, safety of your home, just community policing, and just engaging the community to keep that relationship as positive as possible.
Sounds like a great job. So, of course, this is all about Black History Month. Tell us a little bit about what Black History Month means to you, and generally why you think it's important to even have a month like this to acknowledge Black history.
I think Black History Month is it's a great tool to remind Black students and even just Black people in general about some of the amazing things they've done in their history that have contributed to the world. I know it's only 1 month, but hopefully that just becomes our history, and we're able to be highlighted all year. But it's a great way to highlight individuals, highlight things that have happened in history and how it's contributed to Canada and North America and the world in general. So it just gives those students a chance to see their heritage and how it's affected the world.
Mm-hmm. So I'm obviously a little bit older than you. But when I was growing up, there wasn't really, to be honest with you, a whole lot of diversity I felt in my community. But that's really changed here a lot, and we see a lot more diversity in Windsor and in the broader community. And I'm wondering, as you were coming up as a young man, as a boy, as a student, did you have many Black role models that you're able to look up to?
In growing up, much I was an athlete, so much of my role models at first were athletes. But as you mature, you start looking to people who have some of the values, or even just who have different parts that motivated you. So for me, growing up, it was actually Black History Month is and I really delved into Martin Luther King. And also, as a young youth, I had brothers, and they took me to see a Malcolm X movie. So those were two individuals who had a goal, and it was to empower their people, and just showing me how there's different ways to get to one goal of an empowerment of a group of people, or even just giving you a little bit of history on some of the plight happening to them, and how you can stay positive, and how you can move forward to to a better day.
So those are people obviously on a much sort of broader, more international kind of level. Were there any sort of local community leaders that sort of stuck out to you? Whether maybe they were teachers or just community leaders or civil rights leaders or any of those kinds of things that spoke to you?
Um, Unfortunately, there wasn't that many in that I grew up knowing, and teachers as well. It was a area that I felt was lacking some of those motivating people, just to see yourself as a teacher. And I think that was one of the reasons why I decided to go that route. But times have changed, and I feel that that area is starting to grow just a little bit more. Like, as myself as a police officer, and many of my closest friends, we're putting ourselves in those positions to maybe see some of those role models in ourselves for the youth coming up.
Can you talk, Jamie, just a little bit about how you feel about the current state of race relations, both internationally and at more like the local community level? Because we see so many things, coming out, from the United States. A lot of situations, obviously, with the Black Lives Matter movement. How do you generally feel about the state of race relations, both at a international, at a national level, and at a local level?
At first, it was a bit troublesome, just to see some of the reactions people had about how many Black people were feeling about things that were going on. For the longest time, it's been more of a behind the scenes feeling. So at first, when people were coming out and saying how they felt and the things they were experiencing, to see some of the reactions, it was disheartening. But also, in the same breath, I saw some things that motivated me and kept me hopeful, was other people's reactions, saying, "We hear you." Um, some people even saying, "Sorry, I didn't know that's the way you were feeling." And they're like, "What can we do?" So the questions were being asked on, how can I help? How can I assist? So that really kept me hopeful, and it continues to do that. I believe there's more action that needs to be done. The hashtags are great, and but I think we need action. And I always said our youth are very important in this, because they're going to be living in this world much longer than I am, because as an older Black male. So if we can take what we've heard now, and we can put some action forward, and to be more equitable, to be more fair, and to make it just more of a place that involves inclusion, I think there's definitely hope for the future.
And what do you think can be done to sort of bridge that gap, to sort of to kind of bring those communities that some people think are just so far apart on the opposite ends of the spectrum? How do you see us kind of bringing people together more?
Um, I think the first thing we started with is saying we're going to assist those looking for change. But I think it's institutions need to be the ones to lead in this aspect. I believe a lot of Black people have been, working towards change, and it's a slow process. Now it's the people who make those big decisions. It's time for them to be the ones to lead that effort, in the change that we're looking for, because Black people want the inclusion, we want the equity, and those are things we've always wanted and will continue to push for. Now it's for the people who make those decisions, the ones who are going to offer up that assistance and who are going to offer up that extra opportunity to continue that, to eventually, when it comes a point where we don't need that anymore, as not just as Black people, but just people who want to be more inclusive and want to be included in the conversation. I think that the administrations need to take a look and move forward with that.
And you have a real unique opportunity here as well. We talked at the top about you moving into this new position with the police force and more of a community policing role as a Black male police officer. That, I think, that gives you, a real opportunity to not only be a role model, but to really influence some meaningful change. How much of your time do you see in that community policing role? How much of your time do you see, because you're obviously covering a lot of different subject matter, but how much of that time do you see yourself devoted to the whole idea of, specifically around diversity and inclusion and that kind of thing? How much time do you think you'll be devoting to that in your new role?
I think from the day I decided to apply for the police service was me taking action as being part of a solution I want. And I think being present to the youth, to show that policing is a viable job, to those people who feel that the police need to do more, like myself. I wanted to be part of that change. So, I put myself in this position, and I think as I'm here, I'll reach out to the community, and it's going to be a big part of my career. It's just being present with what I can do and the things I can say, and just a different perspective. It's never as easy as it looks. So it's to me to provide that information, to answer those tough questions, and listen. Really, I really have to listen, and I have a service where I listen, and I'll bring it to them, and we'll work from there. And the whole thing is that we work together. So that's where it starts.
So much of it is just about relationship building, isn't it?
It is, and it's just someone opens that door and you step in and you just have that conversation, and the conversations are being had, and like I said, the next thing is action.
Mm-hmm. So, final question, and this is an opportunity for us to maybe learn from you a little bit. You came up through our system. What was it like for you as a Black student in our system, and what do you think that we can be doing as educators, as an education system, to improve the state of race relations and ultimately lead to more of an equitable, just kind of society?
Growing up, going to St. Joe's and just going through the school board and the education, I believe I had top-notch education. If there was any area where I felt as a Black student where I might have needed more assistance was, just offering up more examples of people that represent me and look like me in professional roles, and, creating that network where, I'm able to reach out and speak with someone of, possibly an area where I want to work, or even an area I never dreamed of. There's, doctors, there's lawyers, there's astronauts, all those people who look like me, but it's, if they're not highlighted and I can only see them, that 1 month a year, it's hard to stick with. So just creating that connection between, myself and, other minorities, people who look like you, really makes a strong impact on your life, because it's not so far out of reach when you can see it. And, sometimes at this point, those students might just need an extra nudge every once in a while to say, hey, are you on top of that? Just because you don't see it more. So don't need too much, but it means a lot to a student when you can take some interest in, their heritage and how well they're doing, and just highlight it, not just this 1 month a year, but through their entire educational process through the school board.
Jamie, thank you so much for being here today. You gave some really thought-provoking, some very candid answers, and some very insightful answers. Some really good stuff for us to think about. So we really appreciate your time, and continued good luck as you move into this new role with the police force.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me here today. Like I said, St. Joe's was, I always say, the greatest time of my life. What I learned at that school, and being in the Windsor and Essex Catholic District School Board was amazing. And good luck to everyone, and happy Black History Month.
Thanks so much.